Dude, we're ready to roll, man.
Let's go.
We're back. We took 2 weeks off, and a lot of good things happening. We solidify regular season Big Ten champs at the basketball court. Made a good run in the tournament, but it didn't happen. But how you doing, dude?
I'm doing great, man. NCAA tournament time. This is arguably the best sporting event in all of sports, especially in the United States. I mean, maybe people think the World Cup is bigger, but not in the U.S. It's not. And it's tourney time, number one seed, and a contender. So let's go.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement, and this is what we're going to cover today. So Scar and Do, we're gonna look at spring ball. It began Monday, and we're gonna talk about M hoops for a little bit in the linebacker room with Coach Whittingham, Coach Alex Whittingham, the coach's son. We'll talk about him. Whit did a press conference the other day, and we'll break some of that down, try to decipher some of the things he said. And of course, we're going to keep looking at film. We're nuts. We got more Utah BYU film. And let's start out with this basketball team, though, Duke. We accomplished a hell of a thing, finished a great regular season. Didn't win the conference championship, but did a lot of things. Cason is out, and we found a way to make things happen. McKinney did a pretty good job stepping in at the point. But where do you think we are with our basketball program, Du?
You never want to lose, especially in a championship game, obviously. However, everybody prior to the tournament starting said that, the tournament, they're tired of these conference championship tournaments because it's taking away from the big picture. What's the ultimate goal? It's the NCAA tournament. So you go in there and, they fought like this was the hardest stretch of games they've played all year. Ohio State, Wisconsin, played to the wire. And then a really tough Purdue team that played really, really well, very physical, got points in the paint more than anybody else this year against Michigan. And it might have a little something to do with the lack of fouls called because they were super physical and they were not getting called for it. The numbers show in the number of free throw attempts that each team had. That said, I don't think anybody on the team is dwelling on that now. It hurts when it happened. You never want to lose, but I think everybody's focus is on this tournament, and that's fine. If you're going to lose in March, do it in the conference tournament. Yeah. Because right now it's a single elimination season, and I think their head's in the right spot. They found out. Look, they miss Cason. Let's not diminish that. Cason was probably the best backup point guard in the country, and he would come in and find ways to score. Had a great knack for getting to the rim and driving, and he was physical and he wasn't unafraid. Well, we've experienced now what life is like without Cason, and this tournament probably opened some eyes on some things that Dusty has to do, and what the back you're going to have to rely on Roddy Gale. Last year in the regular season, Roddy Gale wasn't all that good, and then come tournament time, and he really amped it up. Hopefully, he can find that same lightning in a bottle. We got to keep Cade Cadeau out of foul trouble and Mara out of foul trouble. We're not going to have Big Ten refs, so I think the calls will be a little bit more normal, right? I think Big Ten refs are callous to the idea of that's a foul. No, that's just Big Ten physical basketball. Well, that's going to be kind of out the window, and I'm looking forward to it. So playing Howard tomorrow night, and then the winner of St. Louis and Georgia on Sunday, should we get by Howard.
Yeah. A couple things. Justin Joyner, these are things that I like to see that are important. One of our assistant coaches will be the head coach at Oregon State.
Right.
So those are good things. That's a sign. Players want to play for you. Coaches want to work under you. So Dusty will reload and go get another guy that wants to be part of a winner. So you're absolutely right about Cason. He helps you on defense too. I loved what I saw. Yax talking about Kentucky, threw all that money at him. Mara talked about Dusty wanting to be developed, wanting to play for a winner. You know, the narrative is it's not just the money, man. Guys want to play. I met Dusty May, and we talked about this before. Dusty May, and I got recruited by some of the best. I could see the demeanor that he comes with, that players feel comfortable. Okay, I could see where a guy meets him, and you feel the wisdom, you feel the relationship. So I'm sorry, some people want to just say it's all about the bag. You got to be able to talk to people and recruit people still. And Mara said it, Rez said it, Yak said it, that they had options with money from other people. And I just want to compliment Dusty again, because that time is coming up in a couple weeks, and we got to be coming in swinging and put the recruiting pitch on, ready to go. And who some of our biggest salespeople are now going to be? Just like our football program, those two big tackles from Utah are talking to guys that Michigan's recruiting. Right. I'm gonna tell you who's and I know you know this from getting getting recruited. Vlad is going to help with recruiting. Danny Wolf is going to forever help with recruiting. You think Yax isn't going to close deals for us? You don't think Big Mara, if we're the next 7'3" kid that's thinking about going somewhere, he's going to close deals for us, man, in Rez. So our players are going to be our best recruiters going forward. 2 years now with playing, those are the best sales pitches you can get, Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. And when you have players that go to bat for your coach when he's not standing right next to you or in front of you or whatever, when these kids are on a recruiting trip, and they're spending time at the apartments or the dorms or out at the restaurants or the bar or the frat, wherever they go. And these guys, these recruits see the kind of camaraderie and chemistry that these guys have. And that's a huge attraction. And like you said, Mara and Lendeborg were probably two of the top transfer portal guys out there. They were getting money thrown at them everywhere. And they chose Dusty May in Michigan because, like you said, Dusty's got that it factor. He's one of those coaches that just, you can tell when you're sitting there talking to him. This guy is not feeding you a sales pitch. This guy is genuine to the core. His results speak for themselves. And the players' glowing review of their coach is probably, like you said, the best endorsement possible. So I expect great things on the recruiting trail and the transfer portal trail. And when you hear a guy like Yaxel talk about, literally double the money he got from Michigan being thrown at him, and let's be honest, he's probably one of the few that turned his back on a few $1 million to come to Michigan to play for Dusty May because he knew it was going to be the best long-term decision that he made. And he was right, and it's paying off, and he will reap the benefits from that for years to come.
Yeah. We're going to transition to football, but first, you had it on Twitter. We lost one of our teammates, Jerry Diorio. I've known Jerry since '81, out of Youngstown. Great friend, great player, offensive guard, Cardinal Mooney, great football tradition, great teammate, competitive, tough. Went on to be a great high school player. Rest in peace, Jerry D. 64 in your program, number one in your heart.
Way too young, man. That's is.
Anyway, just a couple things. The Michigan over/under 8.5 wins. Vegas has on the Michigan over/under wins. 8.5 wins. That is, they know we go to Oregon, we go to Ohio State. We got to play Indiana, Penn State at home. We got some tough games, so they're looking at that.
Very tough.
And from the more and more I listen to Whit, I think the winner is betting over. That's a real quick thought. Ohio State and Oregon are both 10.5 over/under on their wins. But
Wow.
Michigan is 8.5. I would take the over for Michigan.
Well, I want to go over just real quick the schedule. Anybody can look it up online, but just real quick, we got Western Michigan, then Oklahoma the next week, UTEP, then Iowa. Those are 4 home games. Go at Minnesota, then get a week off. Then we got Penn State at home, Indiana at home, and then at Rutgers, and finish November with Michigan State, at Oregon, UCLA, and at Ohio State. That's a tough schedule, man.
Yeah. No, you're right, dude. But I just really like our coach. I like our coaches. I like. Anyway, I just want to throw it out there. That's what it is. 8.5. Okay. Our the quarterback,
Nicolosi.
So he is apparently we're going to see him in the summer.
Yeah.
That's the story there. Whit said some things. They started Monday, first couple days without pads.
Right.
We talked about that. We never had that when we played. We buckled up and started cracking heads day one.
We went 20, just to remind people back then. This is 1980s. I graduated in '88. Played my last season was '87. Your last season was '85, and it was a grueling 20 practices, and they were not walkthroughs. Those were 20 hard padded practices, and we actually used to have a shirt for the guys that made all 20 practices, and that was a shirt people wanted. You busted your butt to try and do everything you could to make every one of those 20 practices because you wore that shirt around with pride. And unfortunately, I never earned one of those shirts. I didn't make it for 20 practices in any of my 4 seasons, and it still haunts me.
Yeah, it was tough. We had steak. Winners had steak. I never liked that. Losers got hot dogs. I know they're going to do that. Anyway, couple things that you got to really dissect. Look at the little things that Whit said in his press conference about as they move forward here. He referred to Bryce as a dual threat quarterback. I thought that was interesting. You know, it's of note that that's how he looks at his quarterback, that he's a dual threat. Those were his words.
Yep.
He talked about, you can get an idea where a guy is in the weight room and you look at his film from last year. But if you got competition, he wants to see who's making the mental adjustments and who's doing all. You can't have mental mistakes. So those are some of the things they're going to obviously be looking for. Now, I thought it was interesting when he talked about, because of the way football is now, plug and play. You got to make things simple. You can't have too much stuff on both sides of the ball where you got mental mistakes because you might not have a guy but for 1 year. So that was something he talked about, is a plug and play mentality for both sides of the ball. Then one of the guys asked him a question. Well, your defensive coordinator said that we're going to be all over the place, man. We're going to be the most complex, chaotic, good luck figuring us out defense. And Whit looked at the guy asking the question. He says, well, maybe that's what they did at BYU. Anyway, I just thought it was funny the way he answered it. And, that tells you how things work. People think that that's not how it works. A defensive coordinator don't just do what the hell he wants to do.
No. Right.
It all got to get, that's why the head coach says, no, man, we're going to throttle things down. But what are your thoughts on some of those things he said?
Yeah. So he said 3 or 4 years ago, they made a concerted effort at Utah to simplify things. They didn't want to make it simple, but simplify how they install things, what they do. And he said that the main reason that he brought in Beck was that his scheme was user-friendly and the learning curve was not steep. It's very effective, but it's not a steep learning curve. And I think that's important. Like you said, you've got a bunch of transfers that you're going to come relying on. You got guys that are learning a new system this year, first year under Whit. Man, you want to make sure that they're playing fast. And you'll hear this all the time. I say it, they say it on TV, you say it. If you're thinking you're playing slow, you cannot be thinking when you're on the field. You have to be completely aware of what's going on and react as fast as possible. And you can't do that if you're worried about, oh, wait, what was this again? Oh, what happens when they shift over here? Who's my key on this? You can't do that. And so they make it user-friendly. And that's a big plus towards building a fast defense. And
Yeah, especially when you're rotating a lot of guys on defense.
Yep.
You know, that the upside, fresh bodies, the downside, how many reps can these guys get in practice? So we talked about that. It's just interesting. Because I look at the little things he says, but he feels he needs to develop some edge guys. Now we got Nichols and Brandt who have played a lot, but when you look at the room, that's exactly what you got. You got a lot of talented young guys that they're going to have to clean them up this spring. And he talked about loving Harding. He thinks he has the best offensive line coach in the country. And I watch these guys play. I hear them talk. I believe it, man. The quarterback room is thin. He talked about Tommy Carr. But he did listen. There are some other quarterbacks there, though. He didn't have to. And he did not have to just simply mention Tommy Carr. But maybe he feels right out of the blocks that he hit the jackpot with Tommy Carr. Because when I watch his brother at Notre Dame, I see smooth, accurate, darn good quarterback.
Yeah.
So you don't know until you get a guy, and so hopefully we we hit the jackpot. What did Jim call Kenny Grant? A gift from the football gods. You don't know sometimes till you recruit them. So maybe that's the confidence they're seeing early on with Tommy Carr. Any thoughts on that?
No, like you said, there's a couple of quarterbacks that aren't on campus yet, but he did say Bryce is the clear number one. He made no bones about it, came out and said it right in front of everybody on the press conference. And, man, all you keep hearing about from these coaches is how he handles himself and how he presents himself as a leader. And that just resonates, man. The play will come. The kid's talented. He's got a big arm, right? He's a big body. He was, again, only, and Whit mentioned this, he barely turned 18 when he was playing last year as a starting quarterback at Michigan. You know, people have a tendency to forget what they were like at 18 years old. But I bet you every single one of those people that complained about his play never once had any kind of stress close to that, unless somebody was in the military and they're out there deployed. What else are you doing that's as stressful as being a starting quarterback for a Power 4 blue blood in front of 100,000 people and millions on television? So he said he had some things to improve on. He knows it. The coaches know it, and that's what they work on in the offseason. He also mentioned, this is a big thing with a lot of people, is he has a dedicated quarterbacks coach. A lot of people complained about that the last year, is that, hey, and you and I talked about it on the podcast, you know, there's no dedicated quarterbacks coach. You and I believe that we'd rather face, you know, or would not want to face a really, really good offensive coordinator who can make a freshman quarterback and some freshman players out there on offense much better because he's a really good coordinator. You can be a great quarterbacks coach, but what if your kid can't read a defense? Mechanically, he's sound, but what if he can't read a defense, right?
Yeah.
That kid's not a worry. So they have some things to work on, and, of course, that's what spring ball is all about.
Yeah. Well, they're going to surround him with. The more and more of this film I look at, I see schematic things that give defenses trouble that aren't overly complicated. That's what I see. I just thought it was interesting. He talked about Kerry Combs, special team coach. How these guys are working on. They haven't even started practicing, but they're working on stuff. They have a decent idea. They're allowed to do the rules of college football before practice starts. They're allowed to do some things, and I just thought that was interesting. He likes Kerry Combs.
Well, he had an interesting statement about special teams, and he says, "You want a peek in how well a team is coached? Watch their special teams. Yeah. If they take it seriously, if the players buy into how important special teams are, if you're organized, right, and you're not giving up big plays or dumb mistakes. Just look at how Combs is coaching this squad."
Yeah.
And it gives you a view to the bigger picture of how well the team is prepared. And I think that's a great statement. And I don't know if anybody's ever looked at that in that light. Remember when Jay Harbaugh was the special teams coordinator at Michigan? That was a great unit, man. Those guys consistently performed well, blocking punts, blocking field goals, returning kicks. If you do, it's not just a small portion of the game. It's a very important portion of the game. And it also highlights how important it is to be organized, well coached, and trying hard, even on a punt return.
Yeah, the special team coach's job is a lot easier when the head coach stands in front of the team and says, "Hey, fellas, we're this is important." Just like when we played for Bo, dude, we warmed up, took a couple laps, cracked a couple, got loosened up, and we were punting the football. That's the first thing we did.
First thing we did.
We
every
warmed
practice.
up and we were punting the darn ball.
Yep.
3 on each hash. Three punts on the left hash, 3 in the middle, 3 on the right every day. Okay, guess what? When I became a head football coach, I did it the exact same way, man. We punted every day. Bo used to say it's the most important play in football. I believe it. I understand it. You gotta snap the football. You better have a backup, a long snapper. But I understand it, and Whit understands it. And we got this Corey. I know, again, Kerry Combs. He's good. Yep. We already saw that in the bowl game. So they're moving Beagle from defense to offensive line. Big athletic kid from Germany. Could have competed on defense. They probably sat him and said, "Look, you can be battling on defense. We see you as a kid that can start on offense." So that's that. The leadership council, again, we didn't have it when we played, but I heard them talk about it, and there's a lot of good things in it, man, where, they have a voice. The players can coach, what about this? But if you go in with a united force behind, whoever, Bryce or whoever your guy is, to talk about some things that you think we weren't going to roll in to see Schembechler by ourselves, So I think there's a lot of good in that. Whit believes in it. Any thoughts on some of those things?
Just goes to the culture and how he likes his team organized. It's not like Whit talked a lot about. He was on Jansen's podcast, and I listened to that interview tonight when I was out walking the dog. And he talked about how that Schembechler, how he did things, his slogans, how he prepared a team, what he thought made important. And Whit does a lot of those things. However, some of that stuff you have to morph along with how the players have morphed. It's a lot different game today than it was, we just talked about, 30, 40 years ago. And Bo was the general, and there was no questions. It was his way, and like you said, you weren't just walking into Bo's office and saying, "Hey, we think we want to have music during practice." I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I see a lot of good in it, though.
Well, yeah, because if your coaches, it's tougher to get away with just being that drill sergeant kind of general, and it's just my way or the highway.
Yeah.
That's all well and good if you're Nick Saban and you're winning 7, 8, 9 national championships. Or if you're Kurt Signetti and you're winning, the Big Ten and a national championship in year 2. That's fine. And even Signetti changed from what he learned under Saban. He changed his whole formula on practice. He doesn't make it a 4-hour slog or a 3-hour slog. Get what we got to get done, and then get out of here.
Healthy, man.
Yeah, and so it's a different game.
I thought it was interesting, and now I wished I would have researched it. But Whit, your foundation. My foundation was my high school coach in Michigan football as a coach for 25 years. That was my foundation defensively. Whit has a foundation in what he believes in, and you know what it is? It's his dad, 1993 Utah. His dad was a defensive coordinator. He has a belief system that there's where you start. That's where you start. And then you might tweak a few little things to adjust to today's game, but his foundation is 1993. Old man Whit, coaching at Utah. What do you know about this guy, his dad?
If Whit is a lot like, say, the Mallorys, or some of these other families that just have football running through their blood. First of all, Fred played in the pros. And then he coached for a long time. He was the linebackers coach at BYU. He coached in the pros with the Rams. He came back to Utah, coached them on the defensive coordinator, the Raiders. And then he come back and was at Utah again under Kyle. And he's just, you want to learn football? A guy who played in the NFL and coached in college and the pros for a long time, that's a pretty good mentor. And it's your dad. That's amazing. And you see where he gets his pedigree from. But then, just like we were talking about, you can't just do what a guy back in the 80s and 90s did. You have to morph into what today's players are like, because today's players aren't like the other players. They're bigger and faster and stronger, but they have a bigger voice as well. And so you have to kind of adapt to that. And
yeah, but there's, like I said, I think he said it's his foundation. You know, there's a foundation
absolutely.
of, you know, what you believe in. Whit talked about a Big Ten championship. You know, you talk about, I didn't think about it at the time, but I don't care what anybody says. I know old man Harbaugh. I know Jack, okay? And the two Harbaugh brothers, their foundation is Jack Harbaugh.
100%.
Offensively. I know Jack was a stack eye guy. That's what Jerry ran at Cardinal Mooney. Stack eye, double tight, 3 backs right behind the quarterback. Okay, that's what Jack Harbaugh ran in his early years as a coach. Okay, running power. What did Jim do to build stand? You look at the Ravens. You look at everything Jim believed in, his power. Anyway, that's his foundation. I know, but it's the same thing that you believe in as a coach. That, you know, Jim and John are Jack, and Whit is his old man defensively. So I think that's what you are as a coach. Whit talked about the Big Ten championship. They asked him, you know, we're going to compete for Big Ten championship. Big Ten championships. The media don't like talking about Big Ten championships. Whit talked about it, so that was just great to hear that.
It was, and I've been saying it for a long time, and you know, this new, I don't know, the fans today, it's just national championship or bust. All right, that's fine. But listen, win the Big Ten championship and you are in the hunt, right? You win the Big Ten championship, you're going to the playoffs, and you are in the hunt for the national championship, okay? Not everybody who's in the playoffs won their title and maybe don't win a Big Ten. They don't win their conference championship, but they're in the game, right? They're in the tournament. But if you win that Big Ten tournament championship, you're in, right? You're in with a good seed. You're in a good spot, and probably get a bye. And of course, with the expanded playoffs, that might even turn into a double bye. Who knows? I don't. Yeah. But I'm always about win that Big Ten championship. Everything will come to you. All of your goals are in front of you if you win the Big Ten championship. And Whit had stressed that. That's what we're competing for every single year.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about this guy here, Alex Whittingham. Dude, can you see his background there?
Well, I got to put my glasses on, Jim, because I'm old.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. This is our linebacker coach. Now, this is Coach Whit's son, Alex, and he's worked under a brilliant defensive coordinator, Spagnuolo, over there with Andy Reid. He's got Super Bowl rings. So he worked with the outside backers. He worked with the D-line, you know, assistant, quality control, but he's worked with different groups, outside, D-line, inside backers, secondary, back to the D-line, and now he's over here with Michigan coaching linebackers. That's his resume. He's got 8 years with Andy Reid and Spagnuolo, seeing everything, coaching all. He will be a coordinator soon. That's how you prepare a guy to be a coordinator right there, coaching different groups. Anything else about his resume there, Do?
No, just I just keep thinking about these Whittinghams are very much like the Harbaughs, but more of them, it appears. And I mean, if you bring a guy in who's been with the Kansas City Chiefs for 8 years, this guy knows winning, right? I mean, he's been around all of these players in Kansas City, but more importantly, Andy Reid, who clearly knows how to coach. He's a winner. He's won championships. He's coached 2 teams in the NFL. That's a guy who's got a great resume, man. And now he's our linebackers coach. And that gives these players a leg up, man. We are young at linebacker, right? We're a little bit thin too. I mean, we can go through these names here, but you got Nathan Owusu-Boateng, he's going to be a true sophomore, and Troy Bowles and Chase Taylor. Chase Taylor's going to be a sophomore as well. So Owusu-Boateng, Bowles, and Taylor, those are the guys that got reps last year behind Sullivan and our other guy whose name
Rolder.
Yeah, Jimmy Rolder, right? We brought in some transfers, but this is a little bit thinner than you would like at linebacker going into the season. So nice to have a coach that's got some experience and knows technique, knows scheme. Going to work under back there, our Jay Hill, excuse me. We need all the help I think we need all the help we can at linebacker and on the line, and we'll see how that goes. Boateng, very athletic guy. He showed out on a couple of plays last year, but he was young. He was a true freshman. Same thing with Chase Taylor. He was a true freshman. 18-year-olds out there. Getting that year of experience is great. Now they've got some coaches and a scheme, and it'll let them fly around, I think. So, that's going to be an interesting development through spring ball. We had talked, I don't know, we've mentioned this before on the podcast, but in the past, former players have been allowed to come to practice, right? And we're still waiting word on whether or not Whit's going to allow that in his first year. I think my opinion is probably not this year, just because it's the first year. He probably wants to be in the submarine, doesn't want any distractions. And there's just a limited amount of time to get as many reps in as possible. Now, when we're at practice, we are not a distraction. We stand over on the sidelines, right? And you just observe. You're not talking with anybody. You're not involved in anything. You're not in the way. You don't have a word. You're just an observer. So it's not like would be a distraction, but maybe he doesn't want to fuss with that. Jim had done that before too. So we'll see. Hopefully we get a practice in.
Well, look, when you look at it on paper, first of all, Whit is a smart guy.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly what he has in each room. He would have had scouting reports, film. He would have had thorough analysis of the players in that linebacker room. And he only felt he needed to bring in. Now, I looked at Staehling, okay? Staehling, the kid from North Dakota State.
Right.
I watched his film, dude. Let me tell you, he could be Jimmy Rolder this year. He could be. He's athletically, that's what I see. North Dakota State is good football. Jimmy Rolder, I don't know how highly recruited, but anyway, you play with intelligence. We played with a lot of smart guys at linebacker. That position's about intelligence, getting in the right gap, reading, dissecting. Anyway, he's a good player. I watched his film. He's an athletic kid, and he's all over the field for North Dakota State. But he must feel good about Boateng, Taylor, and Bowles has been around. He was at Georgia. He played a little bit last year. We saw his film. And so they must feel good about those four. And then he brought the kid in, a guy, I think it was at BYU.
Yeah, Ayisa Moa. So that's Salisi Moa's brother.
That's right.
Right. And so Moa came in here, and then we also got Alfred's son out of MSU. He's a grad transfer from MSU. So,
right.
There's 6 guys there. So, you talk about a North Dakota guy. Look at what Indiana played with at linebacker last year, and the guy only turned out to be the best player on their defense. He made more plays than.
And where'd he get him from? James Madison? Where'd he get him from?
He came from James Madison.
Yeah. People think.
And so, I mean, then in this age of transfers and NIL, you could be a guy. This is a great move up. This is like coming up from the minor leagues. Now you're in the big leagues. And plenty of guys succeed doing that. So I suspect that, they saw something from him.
So anyway, when I look at it from an uneducated, don't know what the heck is in that room, haven't seen film, that position group is probably the most concerning for me.
Right.
But I don't know what the hell he knows. And I know he's a smart guy.
Well, and
So
I was thinking about this too. There's a lot of opinions online. I mean, online just is a cesspool of opinions and people who just are so adamant that their opinion is right. Oh, this guy sucks or this guy did. Well, let me tell you something. You don't know. I don't know. These blowhards online don't know. The only people that know are the 120 players and the dozen or so
That's right.
coaches. That's it. And so you can speculate all you want about this, that, and the other thing. You don't know. And this kid could be, obviously, the coaches are going to take these guys and coach them up the best they can, get them in the weight room the best they can. And I suspect they will respond. And we got some talent.
Yeah,
right?
there might be a name we don't know about,
experience.
maybe a safety that's converted, but
Right.
there's, you've got highly recruited kids, Taylor and Boateng, and so we'll see, man. What the hell do I know?
Exactly.
I ain't looking at the film like these guys are, man. Let's look at, dude. We're nuts, man. We're looking at Utah, BYU still.
Hey, I just want to shout out a couple of guys. These guys come to the chat. I think Terry's here every week. And then Terry says hello. Jed65, hi guys, love the channel. Thanks for being there, fellas. We appreciate you coming along and chatting and watching and listening. Tell your friends.
All right, get some wisdom. Scar and do. Again, we didn't run much of this stunt on defense, but this is our D coordinator. We didn't run this much at all with Wink, but here we are motioning out to empty on offense. A lot of empty. Running that twist game and that TNT deal there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that TNT. So just to explain, TNT, tackle and nose or tackle and end. They're doing a twist. One guy's going to come in and the other one's going to take a step up and then come around. Now he's going to be the contain. The guy on the inside is going to end up being the contain guy. And so on these stunts, you got to watch. So watch 94. That's our boy, John Daly. You got to.
No, dude. BYU's on defense.
Oh, geez. Oh, yeah. Right.
I just want to look at the scheme because that's our defensive coordinator.
Yep.
But
yeah.
The biggest concern I had as a coach running that was having a big three technique contain.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They got to get out there.
20 pounders. That's going to be Eno Etta. And we saw it last year. Sometimes, it's tough for those guys to contain a quarterback like this. So anyway, here's empty from Beck. Hopefully Bryce will give us some of that dual threat. I just thought it was interesting, again, that Whit referred to him as a dual threat quarterback.
Part of his game, he said.
To understand that's, I don't really have anything in a particular, Mark, I just thought we'd look, see if you something to see, either side of the ball.
I point this out. We saw that play on one of the film reviews earlier, but what I immediately noticed on that last one was the communication, and that's so important on defense.
Yeah, that's what I see it too. I see guys communicating, getting in the right spot, quarterbacks contained, guys covered. What do we got here? This is our base defense. This is what we've run. Big outs, edge player here, 3 down line. This is our stuff, and here's a 1-back set.
You see how he shifted out of there? So the guy that was on the edge shifted out, right? Or was that the corner that backed up? Sorry.
Well, this is our, we ran this, dude. This is like strike week. Look at that. This is us playing. This guy's coming, he's coming, and this guy's coming and dropping. Yeah. We ran this stuff with the last couple of years.
Oh yeah.
Look, he's they're coming and then he's going to drop back into this flat.
What a smart play! He drops right where that quarterback wanted that crossing route. That was a really well timed.
Yeah, we ran that exact same stunt the last 5 years. So you got to have these guys got to be able to contain. These big tackles here have to be able to contain.
Run this play over, Jim, and I want to show you something that we didn't do. So watch the edge here on the left. See, he's standing up on the edge. He's right on that pack. Now watch. See him turn his head for the receiver?
Yeah.
Man, one thing that we did not do well last year is the linebackers or these dropping edges. They just dropped to a zone. They never looked up receivers. I had mentioned it on my low-hanging fruit review every single week. It drives me nuts because these guys would drop to an area but not look up. Who am I covering, or where's the guy that I'm going to covering? Where's he
Yeah.
going?
Yeah,
We
well,
just
what they're
would
doing
cover
here, though,
grass, man.
they're trying to get this tackle to commit to block
Yep.
while getting a weak little. That's what they're trying to do. Let's get him to commit to block this guy. At the same time, we can see if we can get him in coverage.
But watch that guy's eyes immediately when he's going to drop. He turns his head and looks. Where's the receiver going? Because if somebody's leaving, somebody else is coming. And that other one that was coming from across the field. I love they're coached up like that. And I thought that was something we lacked last year.
Empty formation, base front. See, here's one, this is another thing. This might be one linebacker in the game. Is this a safety? I don't know what that is. Is that a safety here? So maybe that's why they look at a thin linebacker room and not worry about it so much. If they're going to play two edge players, one linebacker more than what we did in the past. I have to look and see what number 17 is. But I don't know. I'm just looking at it. Just a couple plays and we'll wrap it up, dude. If you see something you want to. Something on either side of the ball. Ton of empty. What's the pass rush here? Running that stunt again, that double.
Yeah. So just a
they don't pick it up. Guy makes a play out here. Whit talked about his receiver room. What did he say there, dude? He likes it.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely he does. And apparently some of those guys have really shown out pretty well during the off-season weightlifting. And there's also conditioning. There's a lot of running that goes on during the winter conditioning as well, obviously. And so, yeah, I mean, French, J.J. Buchanan, Andrew Marsh, got some talent in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, so I thought this was a good play here. I haven't seen this. You and I both played outside backer, edge. Okay, so here's a guard tackle, tight end. This guy right here, this player right here, he gets a down block. And the first thing you do when you get a down block, you look inside of your keys. Okay.
Squeeze.
But guess what? You've got him coming to kick you out, and you also have to honor him because he could be trying to reach you, right?
Yep.
You just don't know. So this is an interesting concept because you put this player in conflict, and obviously they've seen it in practice and film.
Well, that linebacker. So if that end is crashing down, if he's blocking down and the end has to squeeze, then that backer, just like he is right there, has got to get upfield. But man, you can't let that guy get outside of you. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, this I see how BYU and Hill are defending it. They've seen it on film, so they probably have this guy just coming in and splattering this thing.
Right.
And this player is then going to be here, but this back doesn't block him. It would have been probably a touchdown if this back blocks this kid.
I think that back's taught. Hey, if this guy's inside of you, well, it looks like he's slowing. If he's in, no, he turned around to look at the guy.
Whatever,
so
they don't block it right. But what I liked about the whole thing was it's a conflicting scheme.
Sure.
For what what do you do defensively? So those are the things that, again, this is the kind of play where you tell your players, look, we're going to run the hell out of this. We're going to run this enough can create problems for the defense. I don't need to run a ton of formations. You can fool people by being good at running a few plays. Some of the best people I coached against they ran one formation the whole game.
Yeah.
They went on one the whole game. They ran one formation the whole game. Their players knew their darn stuff inside out.
Absolutely.
They knew everything you were going to do. They knew how to block it. Anyway, that's a little taste for today, man. Little film.
That was
we're nuts. We got to look at film, man. But we're fired up. Spring ball. Hopefully we'll get down there, see something. And Dusty's got them. We've got this game. Hopefully we can play. I'd like to hammer these dudes and play some of these young guys for 10 minutes. That would be great if we could. You don't know how it's going to play out, but that would be great to get Oscar and some of the boys in there and like legitimate playing. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, they
rest these guys. They just played 3 games straight, you know, whatever, and then get ready for
they're playing Howard, and let's be honest, they're going to be overmatched, right? So Michigan's got to come up. First of all, we got to work on our game with the backup point guard, right? So before you get the other guys on the end of the bench in, you got to get McKinney and Gale in there running the show and getting proficient at it. But the other thing, Lendeborg's, you know, he went out with an ankle. Now he came back into the game, but sometimes that happens. You got shoes on there, you're taped up. You know, you get taped up even more and you can go. But once you take that tape off, that's when things start to swell up. Yeah. The pain sets in the next day. So he had rehab this week for sure. I'm sure he was in the ice tub. And he's going to be ready to go. Howard's probably not going to hang with Michigan, let's be honest, unless they somehow just are canning threes from all over the place. It shouldn't be too difficult to get by them. The next game on Saturday will be, you know, either, like I said, Georgia or St. Louis, and both those teams, you know, those are formidable opponents.
Yeah, that's Dusty's buddy over at Georgia. He coached under him.
Yeah.
Whit, real good coach. He was at Florida. He's a good coach. That's one of Dusty's buddies. And St. Louis has beat people. They got some players. You don't know. Both those teams are going to be. They're going to be a challenge. It's still lamb chop. But anyway, we're feeling good about things. We're hanging. We've got a banner up there. Things are good. And my final word is it's all go blue. We've got a lot of good things. Hockey and girls hoops, and we're fired up. Go blue.
Go blue, man. Let's get this tournament run going. In the NCAA tournament, right? Anything can happen. You know what can happen? Michigan can win them all. Let's go out and win them all, damn it.